Hi, this is Quinn with Q Salon, and if you are watching this, you may have watched the first few steps where we applied color to Carlos's hair, and now we are ready to do the haircut. So first off, I would like to scare you away from doing the haircut at home. There is a possibility if you screw up, you could look like the Tiger King. So if we can hang on until your hairdresser's back in town or until I'm back, that's probably the best and safest way to go. If you do insist on doing your hair at home, there are a few options. One is if you have a set of clippers, putting your highest guard on, which is probably a 4, and taking it up all over. So that's what we're gonna start with right now to show you kind of what that before you clipper the hair, make sure everything is combed down. Keep a comb in your hand. And when you have your blade, you're going to turn it so that the teeth come right up. So you don't want it down like this. Just make it right up to the top. You're going to turn your clippers on. I like to start at the back. You can have your person look down, and you're going right against the skin with this. You can do this all over, and then if you decide that it's still too long, you can always go down the next guard to a 3 or a 2 until you get to the desired length that you like. If you start with something too short and you don't like it, you cannot put the hair back on. So what's important to remember is that even though you are using the guard, your hair does have cowlicks and a different shape to it. So you can kind of work the clippers side to side to make sure you get a more even clipper cut here. So essentially you would continue this all over the head to get it the most even. You're gonna keep it right to the skin and go all over. So that would be your first option. I'm now going to show you your second option. So once you have decided what you want to do, if you just want to go all over and then call it a day, or if you want a little bit more of a shape, if you decide you want a little bit more of a shape, I'm going to start with the 4 guard. I'm going to go up, but as the head naturally starts to curve in, I'm still going to go straight. So it's naturally going to lift off the head as I do that. And these clippers are getting loud. So I'm going to have my client turn a little so you can see the side. So for most men, where it will start curving in is on something called the parietal ridge. If you were to take the comb here, you can see that it kind of hangs right here or balances here. This is the parietal ridge. We really don't want to go over that with the clippers if we're looking for a more styled look. So keep it going straight up. And I'm just going to do that to the other side as well. So if you were following this rule of thumb that you're not curving over past the parietal ridge, it should be fairly even on both sides. Now, human beings aren't really even on both sides, so it might be slightly off, but in general, it should look okay. Alrighty. For our next step, so this is the more styled look where you want the top maybe just a little bit longer. We're going to brush the hair forward. I'm going to have you kind of turn more towards the camera. Okay. And this is kind of free-handed. This is not a straight line across, but kind of starting right about in here. We'll go one side. So maybe you're cutting a 1/2 inch off. You're deciding what you want for the length on top. So now what we are going to do is you have created your guide. It's this little guy right in front. So you're going to cut up, almost making a mohawk. So you'll see that's where the little guide is, and you're gonna cut right there. And as you follow the shape of the head, your guide is going to shift with you. So here's our guide. So you'll see we're taking off very little, just about 1/4 inch as we work our way back. Now you don't want to cut right over your fingers, and again, I really do not recommend this. At home, there's a possibility you could cut a knuckle, so I don't want to encourage it, but if you are insisting, again, that's one way to do it. So once you have cut down the middle, your mohawk, you now have a guide in the middle. So what you will do is comb up, and you'll see that your shorter guide is in the middle here. And you're going to cut straight across so everything is even. So you're going to take sections of the hair, your guide's here. Mine, I don't know if you can see it, but it's very small. It's down in there. And I'm cutting straight across, making horizontal sections all the way back. So everything is cut the same length as your guide in the middle. And again, everything is coming straight up. So you'll notice there are longer pieces on the side. That is okay. Pull everything up so it's all now even across the top. Now you'll take your comb and you'll start, and you'll see that you have shorter hairs from where you clipper cut, and then longer hairs from when you were cutting it with the scissors. And to connect it, you're going to take your scissors and cut straight up. So everything lines up perfectly here. You're going to take another section. You'll see the hair is longer, and you'll find your guide where it was clipper cut and cut straight up. And you are going to continue this around the head. There is a good possibility that you have cowlicks back here, or whirls, or all sorts of funny things that can happen with the hair. Your choice is to either cut it short, and just know that you'll have to keep it short, and as it grows out, it's going to get funkier and funkier. Or you can leave it longer, and that weight of that length should keep it from popping up. So if you go around the head and you start pulling the comb out, if you see anything that's longer than the clipper hair, just make sure that you've cut that to blend it in. And if you can't really see it by looking at it head on, have the person stand in front of a mirror so you can get a true look at the shape of the head. I'm going to have you turn straight towards the camera. You come up a bit. So again, on this side, you can barely even see that there's clipper hair here as your guide. This is the hair that's hanging over, and that's what will get cut. But because I'm right-handed, I have to do it this way. So again, to check it, I'm going to comb the hair forward and then go against that and just see if there's anything hanging out. Another option, if you are going for more of that faded look, now would be the time where you could take the next lower clipper. So this is a 4. If you wanted a 3, you could then go around the edges and at the base. So I'll do that to show you what that would look like. I'm going to have you turn back around. And I'm going to change my clipper guard to a 3.
That way?
Yeah, that's pretty good. So again, we're going to comb the hair back down. I'm going to take my level 3 and right where you'll feel a bone on the back of the head right here, this is called your occipital bone. This is as far up as you'll probably want to go with this. Just to take it a little bit tighter on the bottom. And then you can also take it up over the sideburns and around the ear if you'd like. And this will just give you a slightly tapered look. So now that you have done this, if you do find that there are parts of the hair that are sticking out or something like that, you can go over it with something called a texturizing shear. And when you do this, you are not doing it free-handed. You are using your comb, teeth up, as a guide. And if you happen to see something that's maybe causing what men would say is a step or something like that, or their hair feels a little thick in certain areas, you can go over the comb with it and thin out the hair or blend it if you feel there are spots like that. And then comb it through to see how it looks. So we don't have too much of a use for that in our scenario. I am going to have you look straight at the table. So I'm going to have you move your chair again. That's good. All right, for this part, I'm going to have you look straight down. So you're directing the head. This is the neckline. How we create the neckline is not going into it, but turning our trimmers down and creating the line. So if we want it to be here, we're going to start in the middle and comb down. And then we're going to move it around, creating the shape that we want. So some people want straighter, some people want rounder. You do not want to do this into the hairline. Mistakes are more easily made that way. Once you've kind of combed it down, you can clean it up this way or go into the shirt area if there's any parts hanging out there. Typically, this is the point in a salon where I would turn on my blow dryer and make sure no hairs were getting down the shirt, but we don't have that kind of service here in the kitchen. So what I'm doing now is just kind of cleaning up little hairs that might hang over the edge. I'm not really sure on how to explain it other than that I'm pressing the comb into the base of the neck and pulling it forward so that I won't cut too much off. But I'm still creating a nice tight and clean line. And so the same thing here, you're going to find where you would like there to be a line. Turn your trimmers around, create that line and scoop it away. And then if you need to clean up, you can go back this way. So you want to try to get it as even as you can on both sides. Okay, I'm going to have you turn a little bit to the side. And we are going to do the sideburn and over the ear. So for sideburn, you're going to brush everything forward. And anything that's kind of hanging out over the hairline, gently trim away. Comb it back. And then we're going to take this just over the ear. Don't get crazy with this. If you haven't handled trimmers before, you're not taking it way up and making an arch. Go as close to the ear as you really can. Just take it nice and slow. For the sideburn, you're going to want to go about halfway through the ear. And if you'd like this shorter, take your comb, pull it, push it against the face and pull it on top a little bit away to make it a tighter sideburn. I'm going to do the same thing on the other side real quick. So I'm brushing it forward, cleaning up anything that could be hanging over. I'm brushing it back towards the ear. I'm going up and over the ear. I'm going to pick halfway through the ear to make my sideburn, and then I'm just tightening it up a little. Now this is the point where you could also help your man out a lot. If he has some hairy ears, take your trimmer, take any sort of extra hair off the ear. Okay. I'll have you turn towards the camera. All right. Now, if they need a little cleanup between the brows, please put your fingers here and hold the brow in place. Don't freehand this. You could end up giving them one brow, which would be horrible. And very gently go between the brows so that you've protected them during that. You can do a little nose hair action. Now, if their brows are a little bit unruly, you can take a mascara wand or a very fine tooth comb. You can even use like baby fingernail scissors, something small to do this. I'm pretty experienced and feel confident in using my shears, but I would not recommend using that for your first time. So if you do brush them up and you can kind of see where a few get a little bit crazy, you can take your comb and take it over that hair, and when it pops through the comb, you can cut it. If you're using a mascara wand, just kind of hold it in place and cut the hairs that stick out. Men aren't looking for a lot of shaping, so you really don't need to go too crazy with this, but if there's just a few hanging out, you can do that as well. So combing down also works. But just kind of go back and forth until you've cleaned them up a little bit. If there's one random one sticking out, just be very careful to isolate it first and then trim it. This would be the point when I would now take the blow dryer and make sure my client was nice and clean, but it's not a possibility today. And then we would put some product in and make sure it was nice and styled. But as it stands, our client Carlos here today is ready to take on the ICU and have a great weekend. So we hope you do too. Bye.